Hello, this is Shit You Didn't Know, and I'm Corey,
I'm Logan.
and I'm going to tell you some shit you didn't know. So, this week on the... You know what, this isn't really a hipster beer, is it?
Not that one, but we still got this.
Yeah. So we're drinking two different ones. I picked up a pack of Sam Adams Summer Ale, which is pretty good. And then Logan has... What is this, Logan?
It's called Stone Tangerine Express IPA.
It's pretty good. Indian Pale Ale. It's in a can, but I'm willing to forgive that. It tastes pretty good.
They do have it in bottles, it's just you can buy more in a can.
Right.
Or more in cans.
Alright, so as I said, Logan does not know anything about the story I'm telling him.
Nope, not at all. That's the excitement.
Totally in the dark. Where did I just put it?
You even have the story open.
Mm-mm. I literally had it right here. But anyway, so how was your weekend? You spent the weekend in Colorado, right?
Yep. It was magical.
I'm sure it was. And yeah, it's a whopping 105 degrees here in Denton, Texas.
And Colorado was pretty much 75 to 80 in the peak of the day. It was awesome. And it was amazing up on top of Pikes Peak, though.
Oh yeah.
Windy as hell, down to like 58. It was
So,
great.
I pulled this story from a CBC article, and because it actually happened, it's the anniversary of it happening. It happened on July. The event happened on July 12th and 13th. So, I'll get into it.
How many years back? We'll get there, okay.
Yep. 1793, Lower Canada. Governor of Lower Canada, John Graves Simcoe, establishes the town of York on the Toronto Purchase lands, naming it after Prince Frederick, Duke of York. It soon became the capital of the Ontario province because it was believed it would be less vulnerable to attack by the newly formed United States. But it wasn't so. In 1813, the city is attacked by U.S. forces during the War of 1812. It's plundered, looted, and the Parliament buildings are burned down to the ground. Incidentally, this was the motivation behind the British burning the White House the following year. So yeah, the British didn't just burn the White House out of nowhere. We went into Canada, we burned their shit down, and then they got back at us.
Yeah, no, they pretty much just had a test group.
So, in 1834, the name of the city of York was changed to Toronto. In 1840, Toronto was looked at as somewhat of a frontier town, but it was becoming a large destination for immigrants. It had a growing Irish Catholic population, a large amount of native peoples, many escaped slaves from the United States, but it was largely controlled by the Protestants from England, Scotland, and the Ulster region of Ireland. Fucking dude. Yeah. So the Protestants who controlled the city were part of what was called the Orange Order. They were largely conservative and fiercely proud of being part of the British Crown. They also controlled most of the city's important jobs, including mayor, city council, civil servants, policemen, and firemen. You know, it's a good thing that's changed, and things are more democratic in cities, and then they're not all controlled by the same party. And the same, yeah, much better now. So in these days, firemen were not what they are now. They were not a public government-run service.
It was a hell of a job.
Right. So when fires broke out, firemen from different companies would race to be the first ones there to put out the fire to receive payments for their services. Sometimes this didn't work out. One of these companies was the Hook and Ladder Firefighting Company. It was owned by members of the Orange Order and were known to be ill-tempered and violent. In the spring of 1855, a fire broke out on Church Street in downtown Toronto, and the Hook and Ladder Firefighting Company arrived at the same time as another fireman brigade. So obviously, the two companies worked together as a team to put out the fire, right?
No. I mean, from the group, you just expect, like, the Hook and Ladder, you're like, there's a fire. Let's go beat the shit out of it until it's done.
So
Everyone
of course
grab
not.
your club.
The two fire companies got in an argument in the middle of Church Street and started beating the ever-loving shit out of each other while the fire consumed the building.
Payments still due, by the way. And they just keep fighting each other. It's amazing.
So then the police showed up and got pulled into the brawl too. So all the firemen were then charged with assault. So firemen used to be different.
You don't fight with the police department. Like,
what if you're the fire brigade?
Right? Even if you're like before Back the Blue, like,
and they were all Irish. So the cops were Irish and the firefighters were Irish. So.
What's worse is they're Protestant. You expect it from Irish Catholics.
Well, you know.
I mean, Irish is Irish, but
yeah, they still
there's
drink.
a certain level.
So even the most conservative people have to agree that the firemen being a public service probably turned out better than the alternative, right?
Yeah.
That's at least one area where you should have.
And when firefighting was business, didn't they like just sit there and watch the fire go out until like, and if someone couldn't afford it?
Right. Yeah. Or technically, somebody could just start fires somewhere in a city and then call their own brigade. You know, I mean, there's a lot of corruption up into it. Okay, but because Toronto is a growing city, they started having more entertaining acts come through. One act in particular was the S.B. Howe Circus Troupe. On July 12, 1855, they came to the city to perform. This circus had lions, tigers, elephants, trapeze artists, jugglers, and of course, clowns.
Firefighters?
Clowns.
Oh.
Clowns.
I mean, after seeing that first brawl, like, I would love to pay to see it.
I'll fucking kick the shit out of you.
If I was a cop, I'd be like, man, those dudes would fight. If I could pay and stay out of it, that's worth it.
This was my fucking fire. I'd be the one putting it out. Fuck you.
Friday Night Fight Night was just someone going to set a random fire and calling 2 brigades. Who's gonna win this time?
So these clowns were not the happy, joyous clowns that we know today. You know, because the ones that, you know, freak you out.
The only clown I can remember by name is John Wayne Gacy, so that really doesn't do much.
That's a bad intro. So I watched the Penn and Teller interview one time, and he went to clown college, and he said there's a saying that elephants and clowns are similar because they put whatever they can find in their mouth. So he explicitly said that most clowns are gay. I did not know that. That was an interesting revelation. And it does not surprise me.
Not at all.
Especially with John Wayne Gacy. So these clowns, they were like badasses. They wore like, you know, tank tops, probably had barbed wire tattoo, and, you know, chain smoked, unfiltered cigarettes.
So they look like they would be your local plug, like, if they weren't working.
Right, yeah, they,
Hey Bozo, what can you hook me up with today? What you got hidden in those shoes?
So, they would do the manual labor of tearing down the tents and then rebuilding them when they moved from city to city. And they were currently on the Canadian tour. So as tired men do, when they are done with a hard day's work, they went into town to find a brothel. So Toronto at this time was full of brothels, and Mary Ann Armstrong's was one of the more popular ones. The clowns came here so they could enjoy a drink, and as I actually saw this, and this is the reference back then to having a prostitute, they had horizontal refreshments. That was the term. Which I really like. Going into town to have some horizontal refreshments.
Like they got vertical refreshments.
Well, that's if you're really kinky. It's some real shit.
It just reminds me of that scene from Eurotrip. When he's stuck in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. So, to this day, no one is sure if the clowns were wearing makeup when they walked into the brothel. I don't know. It's possible. Also, at the same brothel were the Hook and Ladder Firefighting Company. And the two groups of men began exchanging insults with each other. According to reports, one of the drunken firemen named Fraser began insulting the leader of the clowns, Myers. So this is a fight between New York clowns and Irish firefighters. So if my accents were better, this would be funnier.
Dude, this is a story of legend so far.
So
it's almost like the Battle of Thermopylae, like Persians and Greeks.
Would I be having a drink? I'd rather be fucking me some hookers. Hey, no you won't. The clowns are here. Fuck you, buddy. So, Fraser, the leader of the clowns was named Myers. The leader of the firemen was named Fraser. Fraser insulted Myers and was generally just acting like a drunken asshole. And then he came over to Myers.
Fraser just sit there and like complain about everything from an analytical standpoint.
Oh, you'll be coming in here with your fucking makeup.
I just think of a Canadian version of the actual like Fraser. Kelsey Grammer. Sitting at the bar complaining about everything. Oh, this drink's not right. You know the best way for this is, fucking clowns again.
Just imagine the fight. Who the fuck do you think you are? You fucking clowns coming in here and drinking and fucking all me hookers.
Well, the greatest thing about clowns is before they had cars, I bet they just tried to see how many they could get on one hooker.
So Fraser insulted Myers and then knocked off his hat. Myers told him to pick it up, or there was going to be trouble. Fraser refused and then insulted Myers again. Oh, fuck you and your fucking hat. Then a full-on Donnybrook broke out in the brothel. The clowns beat the fucking shit out of the firemen. They did. And they sent Fraser and another fireman to the hospital. The firemen left with bruised egos, but they vowed to get revenge that day and went to gather up their friends at the Orange Order.
At least they didn't fight with their emergency services.
Oh, god damn it. I got my ass kicked by some fucking clowns.
Here's a bed, then fuck you!
So, the next day, July 13th, a large crowd of men and boys began to gather at the fairgrounds where the circus was held. God, I really feel sorry for those trapeze artists. It's hard enough doing that shit, and then you just see a mob showing up in the middle of your circus.
You're just like, I'm definitely not going down now.
So Police Chief Sam Sherwood and 6 policemen were there, and they requested additional officers. But only 6 more arrived. A mob of hundreds and 13 cops. So as the day progressed, the Orange Order mob began surrounding the circus tent, throwing stones and insults and demanding that the clown called Myers be handed over to them. The Toronto police did not intervene, as most of them were also part of the Orange Order, and they stood on the sidelines and smoked cigars. Looks like they're having a fucking fight over there, Danny. Should we intercede? It is our job. No.
No, the brothel's probably open.
Well, I'll be sitting over here smoking my cigar. What will you be doing? I'll be doing the same. Then the crowd began flipping over circus wagons and setting them on fire.
I feel like these guys are just so Irish, they just sit there and piss out Guinness.
The circus performers decided to get the fuck out of Dodge and ran. Some even jumped into Lake Ontario and swam away. How fucking bad is that? They jump in the goddamn Lake Ontario and just... I'm done. I'm heading. I'm going.
Never coming back to Canada again.
I'm swimming to Detroit, which means I'm really in bad shape. God. Because of the fire, someone rang the fire bell. And guess who the fuck showed up? That's right, the Hook and Ladder Company. And I'm sure they were consummate professionals who showed up and put the blaze out, right?
I do not see that trend.
Nope. Instead of putting the fire out, they ran past the blaze, took out large hooks, and began tearing down the main circus tents looking for the clowns from the night before.
Fuck this fire! We're here for the clowns!
Where the fuck are you at?
Everyone's silent. See if you can hear the nose. Get him!
So the mayor and police chief Sherwood decided that now would be a good time to arrive on the scene, and they tried to personally intervene. Chief Sherwood tried to arrest a rioter, but he was assaulted by the mob and had to let him go.
See, if I was mayor, I would just sit there like, as a concession guy, you got any more like warm peanuts? Yeah, okay, cool. And then just sit there and leave it be. Like, treat it like a fire. It will go out on its own.
So, the mayor actually grabbed a man's arm who was about to attack a clown with an axe, because he was about to swing him and kill the fucking clown. The mayor then requested for a militia to be sent to stop the violence, and it cooled down enough for the carnies to pack up their shit and get the fuck out of there. Miraculously, although many circus performers and Orange Order rioters were injured, no one died in the riot. Afterward, the police present testified that they were not able to identify any of the rioters. One policeman said it was too dark to see. Another claimed that rioters had intentionally picked people that the police did not know to be in the riot. What kind of a fucking excuse is that?
They're just like, we don't want to fight the fires. We'll just let it happen.
So eventually 17 people were brought to trial, but only one was convicted. The public became furious at the police and the mayor over this, because this was becoming a common occurrence for the police to turn a blind eye to violence from the Orange Order. They had done it before with the two fire brigades got in a fight, and I guess they did it another time. The public and the press began putting enormous pressure on the local government and to reform the police department. In 1859, the entire police force was fired, including the chief of police. And from then on, Toronto cops were properly vetted, trained, and regulated. Oh. So beforehand, they weren't, and they just were political employees, or political appointees, essentially. That's all they were.
It just makes me seem like you give a gun to a Walmart greeter.
Right. That's kind of what it was. So, I know this is shocking, but the SB House Circus never returned to Toronto.
No,
but coincidentally, they were in the middle of another riot a month later in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada.
Stay out of Canada. It is not clown friendly.
So, I tried to look up what the cause of that riot was, but apparently they were just in it. They weren't they didn't instigate it or anything.
Yeah, it just happened around them. They were like,
yeah,
fucking again.
So, what did you think? What the fuck was that, right?
History at its finest. It truly is.
No, I looked that up and I was like, I thought it was one of those, when you click on like Google and they have one of those ads like, 33 things you have to see to get better exercise. I thought it was one of those, but it was really a news article from the CBC about this. So I found it interesting, and I just wanted to open it up to international stories because I try not to do. I mean, I don't want to just do American stories. I think last week I did David Icke, who's English, so I want to kind of expand. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one. It's kind of a short one, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. And I'm signing off. I'm Corey.
I'm Logan.
And thank you for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe.